Hello, hello. Welcome to Everyday Experts Special Edition, Limited Edition number one. Um, Me and this my guest today, Mr. Martinez, have been having a discussion about some things pertaining to Joker and deep diving because he's actually a comic book aficionado. I play one on TV. Um, I know the Joker movies. I know the TV show. I could watch Batman, stuff like that. I wouldn't know it as good as him. So I asked Mr. Martinez for a recommendation of a comic book, and this is what he recommended: The Three Jokers. I didn't get to read it. I actually did the audio version where somebody broke it down, but they had the panels up, so I have a good feeling for the story, I think. And if it's not right, Danny can correct me. And if Danny tries to correct me, I'll just tell him he's wrong, like we normally do. But unlike Jimmy Nails, he's not always wrong. Danny's usually right. This is also part two of his experts interview that we got. He had air conditioning snafus. I want to say it's probably been a good. Probably close to a year since he was on the first time. So, the man from Next Issue Podcast, and I like the triple entendre in next issue, next comic book issue, next issue like discussion, and like next my concern, like in my issue with this. I see what you guys did there. The man, the comic book whisperer, comic book aficionado, a man who sees comic books when the rest of us see food, Mr. Daniel Martinez.
What up?
What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just ready to talk about some of this stuff. I do gotta come clean. I had nothing to do with the title of our podcast. That was a pre-existing condition before I joined. But I do agree with you. I think it's a great title, especially when it comes to comic book stuff and media, pop culture related stuff. I think it's a fun title. So, just now I'm just trying to keep it going and expand the empire, if you will.
I love it. So, what have you been? First, let's shout out the peeps. Our excellent engineer, Mr. Matt Munoz, is holding it down. Gang, gang, gang.
From the Batcave.
That's right. French Taunta, my man. Cheers. And the
What a
captain.
Lego.
The captain came to see you, not me.
I appreciate anytime I'm on this side of the screen and Lego is on the chat. It's a changing dynamic. We don't get to be on the same screen as much because I feel like it's too much power to contain. So Rob won't allow it because then he's afraid I'll poach Lego to my channel.
Well, you're coming to the Rob Fishburne network, so it's something that I'm not secretly working on. So, let's do the damn thing. Are you ready, sir?
Dude, yeah, I've been ready, man. We've been going back and forth with some little notes, but you open it up and then we'll just kind of go where the conversation takes us. I think last time we had a really fun interaction, but obviously we have consumed many different types of media within each other, right?
Yeah.
So I think we got this pretty well covered. But also I want to hear from the chat too. Like, they can lead the way on what we're talking about. This is kind of the show is for the people.
Yes, sir. So. Oh, Mr. Namaste himself.
Hey.
We have Glenn Caesar in his house. So that's blessings. Yeah. That's blessings. Always. I'm gonna move. Oh, Jimmy Nails.
Hello.
The file co-host is in the building. He's probably wrong though. So we're gonna push the comic book a little bit towards the end because I know you have a lot of stuff to say.
Yeah, sure.
It's a lot too. It covers a lot of material.
Oh yeah.
So, tell me about what's up with the podcast. What's been going on lately? Let you plug your stuff real quick at the beginning.
Man, so this year's been really good. So, I guess I'll give you a little bit of background on what's going on, right? So, we've been doing the podcast. I've been in part of the podcast since 2018 when it was just an audio podcast. Then at the end of 2018, we kind of talked about it, and the guys were like, they were doing this as part of a radio collective here in Dallas. Um, and they didn't have a lot of freedom. They had a specific time slot. They had specific uh, things they had to do, and there was just not a lot of freedom in that. Even though there was and plus there was cost associated with going into a studio. And although that's pretty cool, like if you see some of the early videos in the channel, you'll actually see it's more production value because they were in an actual studio. I got to go to the studio a couple times. But yeah, 2019 hit, and I was like, and they invited me on permanently, and they were talking about making a change, and we're like, well, let's just do this as an audio format right now. I think people enjoy that. I think a lot of people do podcasts instead of like listening to the radio and stuff. I can't tell you the last time I heard a new song on the radio, just because that's when I'm in my car, which is not a lot anymore at the time, since I'm still working from home. Like it's just podcasts, and I'm catching up on all the stuff my friends are doing because everyone, you get to meet a lot of people that like to create content, so you want to support them. And then last year when I got involved with the community here with you guys, you, Rob, Lego, like all the people that are kind of making shows now here on this network, pretty really, I found out about how, I guess, easy it would be to like get our faces up on the internet as far as the technical side of it, not the content production. That's very difficult. But the technology has changed so much, and I was like, let's just make actual videos for the channel. Let's just make an actual YouTube channel. So I take care of a lot of that stuff, like all the weekly videos you see. I produce a lot of that. And then on Sundays we just do our we do the same podcast, but now you can see our faces. So.
I love it. What's up, Mr. Miller?
It's been great. Cool. I think at the beginning of 2020, last year, 2021, we had like 26 subscribers, and I've hit a few lucky videos. We just crossed 700 subs last week, which I'm very thankful.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we don't do it for the views, but I think it does feel good when you make a video about something you're passionate about, and people have a good reception to it, right? So
yeah, and there's a lot of, like I said, I'm like more like a pseudo or nouveau nerd. I'm not as immersed in the stuff as you guys are. I'm probably more of like knowledgeable about like movies, like a horror movie.
Not
at like Lego's level, but that's kind of how I'm not as adept, but reading the comic books. But I like new mediums too because I appreciate the art. Because I like, and one thing I do want to say, I know we're going to talk about the comic books later. It's drawn so well. The Three Joker is drawn so well. So my first question that I kind of want to talk about is, I know you draw. How long have you been drawing? Have you ever draw your own comic book?
I've been drawing since I was like in middle school and stuff. Like that's always been a thing. And it's really just, I like drawing like the things that I'm watching and stuff. Like if you see my art feed is a lot of superhero stuff or like anime stuff. I just love imitating. I like kind of emulating other people's styles. I don't think I've defined the style of my own yet. And then just when with the digital stuff, like drawing on an iPad is very easy and convenient and forgiving.
Easy?
Yeah. Well, it's easy as far as like it's very accessible. Well, once you have an iPad, I guess. Like art supplies are expensive. I love going to the art supply store, like splurging on some stuff, but then again, like sometimes that stuff will sit there for a while without me using it. the digital media just allows you to kind of like do it on the go, like wherever you are. I just bring my iPad and I'll take pictures of stuff and then try to just kind of do drawings from that.
I
So
know a lot of the drawing I have done. It I draw freehand. I like drawing, and I like I prefer pencil to pen. When
mhm.
I've tried to draw on an iPad, and I'm not saying I've done it a lot.
Yeah,
Um, it just the feel is different. So a lot of that stuff from the drawing feel, it's just different for me. But if that's a medium that you gravitate towards,
yeah,
why you like that medium.
yeah. And I love drawing with a pencil, but I'm super messy. Like
Mm.
my like if I draw with a pencil, my whole hand will end up just like covered in the little graphite.
Yeah.
Um, So, but yeah, the iPad, I think they've really figured out that dumb pencil that Apple sells you for $100 really, really gets very close to the feeling of like drawing on paper.
And they've also changed the screen.
Hmm.
So
Yep, yep,
I know you might notice, but like the distance between this space in the screen, and they've decreased the space,
yep.
so it feels more like actually drawing onto a pen.
And it's also very responsive as far as like before your line would be like a little bit behind, like a few pixels behind the lines that you're
Right.
drawing. But now it's just like almost real time. It's incredible. So yeah, it just makes it a lot easier for me to like I don't have to break out a whole pencil. Like I do go out when I do go out. I do have in my backpack uh like um like just paper and some pens and or pencils and stuff. Like I always try to carry stuff with me
Mm,
in case I do get to break out and and draw something.
right.
So
That's cool. Have you ever wanted to? If you could draw for a comic, which
I
comics would you draw for?
I
Not
mean
Batman.
I got um I think every once in a while I'll be driving and I am trying to think what I want to do is I would like to come up with my own story, like just even if
Ooh.
it's like a short, like couple of pages stuff. But there's so many aspects to it, and that's kind of why I love looking at the process of comic books of how to make comic books. Uh, oh hell, uh, I love that because you don't really understand how much work there is behind like the stuff they're doing and putting out weekly content, right? Like all the comic books. So there's a lot of technique. I have a very static style, so like that doesn't bode
Mm,
well for a medium where you're kind of simulating like movement and stuff like that. So, but I do think about there's a few stories that I have that I maybe need to flesh out more to
ooh,
to actually write an actual script. But I stay so
ooh,
busy consuming media and doing other stuff that it's just something that's there.
ooh, ooh. So I'm hearing that there's a potential comic book story that you're working on that's going to be released soon.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about that, but if I did, like, it's easy to now. It's so easy to put out stuff like that, right? Like, you just do it and then you put it on your social media, and hopefully, you find somebody, an audience or something. So I'm always very encouraging of people putting out, making their own, creating their own stories and creating their own art because
Mm,
that's one of the ways that you'll get into comics, right? You just make comics or try to make comics and learn by doing, and you can actually show work. It's
mm,
the whole catch 22 of like I can't get a job because I don't have enough experience, but I can't get experience because I can't get a job. Well, then I mean, just with comics, at least you can actually just do it.
that's true. But you also have to be so uber talented.
Oh yeah.
I even when my tattoo artist comes on and she shows me her drawings, like I can draw a
Hmm.
little bit, but it's time consuming. Like in my opinion, and I'm not saying there's some people that are that gifted that can do a lot of different. You, it's time. So you can't be a great writer and be a great artist. You can be good, but I think in order you have to invest time in, right? So I
Yeah.
don't have that time. I don't have the time to invest in everything.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, it's all, and it also I feel like it exercises different parts of your brain.
yeah.
Um, with writing versus the art versus even just like coloring a comic book or um or like making the letter like making I think the thing you really have to be good at, and this is one of the reasons I haven't done a comic book, is because lettering a comic book is super difficult, and if you don't do it right, people will notice. Like if it's done correctly, you don't even notice that the word
Mm-hmm.
bubbles look weird
Yeah.
or whatever. But if it's not done correctly, like it's super noticeable and it could ruin the whole experience. So
I find that the other challenge for me with drawing is that I don't know how they do it, but I could never draw something exactly the same every single time.
oh yeah, no, me
That's
no.
For me. I'm just like I couldn't imagine drawing like, and I get tired after a while. Like I can draw a couple of hours, but once you get to like 3-4 hours of drawing something,
Yeah.
like the detail, just the amount that goes into a board.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a panel, you know, if you take one of these panels, I mean, so we just look at this panel, right?
Oh yeah.
The detail, and it's just like, okay, well, how much detail went to every square, and how much and to make all of the Jokers, which we'll talk about later, look different.
Yeah.
So they're all the Joker and identifiable, but they all have their little nuanced looks.
Well, and funny you mentioned that. So this book, it's only 3 issues, right? Like I guess you have a collection, but the book was only three. I think it was 3 issues.
Yeah,
They were oversized, so they were like longer than a normal comic.
right.
But this book took about maybe 3 years to make total. Like
Oh, wow.
I remember from the moment that it was announced to the moment that the series actually finished, and I went to pick up the last issue. It was definitely about 3 years. And I would see the artists post, pages and previews of their work. And Yeah, it was insane, like to see how much. But I mean, they did it all. Like the whole team, they did the whole like the writer. It was the same writer, artist, and colorist, and all that stuff for all 3 issues. So which is difficult nowadays with the turnaround times. Like sometimes you need a fill-in artist or an army of people that are inking the
Yeah,
work and stuff.
I couldn't. I mean, so for like people starting out,
Yeah.
that idea is so daunting. Like
Hmm.
to me, just imagine, because I know. So when I put a book together, I do 90% of the work, but I'm 12 books in, so it's a
Yeah,
process.
you know the
You
step.
know, I know exactly what I want. I know I have to have somebody else edit it. I got all of that stuff,
Yeah.
but I couldn't imagine something where it's a new creative content where it's multimedia, because you're not talking about writing, you're talking about editing, you're talking
Yep.
about
Yep.
story, about layout, you're talking about format, you're talking about story and consistency and flow, and
Hmm.
across three comic books and three different authors.
Right. Yeah, I was watching one of my old videos for Scarlet Witch, like from I don't know, from when we started doing it.
Right.
And it's so different now because back then I was just kind of shooting from the hip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not really knowing, I was learning how to edit videos and how to put in like pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And even just talking to the microphone, because a lot of the videos that I do, you probably notice if you've seen some stuff, like I stumble because I do most of them in one take. Uh, I don't have the time to like be doing it over and over again because this isn't like a full-time thing. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of
um
work.
but now, like for my comic reviews, like I have templates and stuff, and I have a
Ooh.
formula.
And
uh
it gets easier with time.
yeah,
So,
yeah, right, it's from experience. Or for the every time we put out a new video, like yesterday was the first time that I did like a reaction slash review video for the boys. And I did it with a new camera and stuff, so I'm trying stuff out, changing the format.
mhm.
So it's really interesting, just evolving.
I love it. Good show. Good show. Congratulations on all of the stuff you're doing with your podcast. I check it out. You know what? You release videos when I work, so it's super hard to catch in. But I also try to
Yeah.
I
And
also try to show love and support when I can.
no, and I appreciate that. And I think so. So, like I mentioned earlier, I just like doing videos about the stuff that I like, but I don't expect everyone I know to watch all the videos because we are different people, right?
I don't listen. I look at the titles and stuff. I'm like, what the hell even
Yeah.
is
Now,
that?
if you wanna leave the YouTube player running, or whatever, then I'll take
Yeah.
the views. But I don't expect like I make the comic reviews for people that want to actually read the comics and stuff. I
Right.
do the movie reviews for people that have seen the movies. And then sometimes I just do dumb stuff. Like I did a video, like they announced this new animated Batman movie, and I made a video on that.
Yeah.
And that one happened to be like it's my latest video that hit 1,000 views, and I was like, oh cool. Like I didn't make it with that intention. I just wanted to talk about that. Um, and it just happened to be one of the more successful ones. So I was like, okay, that just it leads me or reinforces my belief that I'm just gonna keep making videos about the stuff I like, and then people that like the same things will hopefully find the videos
Yeah.
and then maybe subscribe and stuff. And
um. Oh, question. What was I going to ask you? You were talking about the videos. Where do you kind of see it heading? Like, what do you see like next issue heading? For your involvement.
um yeah, I don't know. I think the next goal, the immediate goal is let's get to 1,000 and then see what does that look like? What is that once you can actually monetize? Like I don't plan to make this like my living. I don't think that I don't think I could do that on my own at this moment. But I mean, it can help cover some of the costs for like StreamYard
Yeah.
and all the stuff, like supplement some of that stuff. Um, so yeah, that's just the next immediate goal is just like let's get to 1,000. Let's figure out what the rules are once we hit that threshold, right? Because there's
Right.
all these like the rules are gonna change. Like whenever we do a lot of the like trailer reactions and stuff like that, or during the live streams, we'll show clips of stuff. Like we get copyright hit where like this wouldn't be monetized. So like we'll have to learn to play by some new rules once we get there. But even if that's the case, like I rather make the video that I want to make, even if I can't monetize it eventually, like than just not show it. I hate when YouTube doesn't let me play stuff like where they're absolutely like, no, you can't play this at all. Like even if you don't make money, like they just like they refuse to air it. So I rather put out a video and never get it monetized than
But you
not be
even
able to
make.
put it out.
I mean, that's what's important.
Yeah,
Um.
I've had 2 videos overall taken down completely, and they were just anime things like anime. There's a lot of weird copyright stuff because they're very strict about copyright with anime, especially in Japan. But I mean that kind of bleeds over into the YouTube space.
Mr. Munoz, can you bring up Jeremy's last uh, uh, thing? I can't wait
Ayo.
till DC releases a musical comic with the Joker. All right, now I only know what I heard. Todd Phillips finished the script for the
Yep.
second Joker movie with Joaquin. They're talking about preemptively casting Gaga as Harley, and they want to make it a musical. I've talked to some people about it, and I've heard mixed reviews. Um, what are your thoughts? And what do you think about Harley, Gaga's Harley? But then I got a follow up question with that, with the Harley question.
Sure. I mean, as far as them making a new movie, like I'll always want more movies, like
Yeah,
than not. Like, and I know people are like, "Oh, not another Joker movie or not another Batman movie." But I'm like, you guys remember 20 years ago we couldn't even get a fucking comic book movie, right? Like,
yeah.
so I'm not gonna discard that. But now, as far as Todd Phillips, I like the Joker. I don't know how I feel about him doing the character of Harley. But the announcement that Lady Gaga's involved with the character makes me feel a little bit better because I feel like hopefully she would I feel like she would maybe protect the character, and that's kind of what I want because the character's grown a lot in the last 30 years because Harley debuted in 90, I think it was 92 when the animated series came out, and her character's changed so much. I love what Margot Robbie's been doing in the direction that that character's gone in. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I do want to address something that I just saw in the chat in a minute. But yeah, as far as that goes, and then if they make it a musical, fuck it, make it a musical. I don't care. Like,
I mean, if you're gonna make it a musical and Harley singing, I mean,
yeah,
you're
and
not
then you
gonna
get
get
Lady Gaga to do it.
you're
Like,
not gonna get a much better voice than
right,
Gaga. Whether
right.
you like her or not, if you like listen to her sing,
Oh
like
yeah,
heard her voice is amazing.
she's very talented. She recently did what was there was a movie that she
Oh,
recently made the music for, like, or
Gucci with the
co-wrote.
Gucci House of
Well,
Gucci.
yeah, she was great in House of Gucci. But there was she just co-wrote the music for something recently, and I was like, oh, I didn't know Lady Gaga was involved. Um, so now Matt, and if you don't mind, Joker, can you pull up Jimmy's latest comment?
I don't know if Matt stepped out. So are
Oh,
you
okay.
talking about the way he
All
said
right.
it?
Well, here I'll read it. So Batman. So Jimmy mentions Batman is all DC has, and I very strongly disagree with that. Now,
Uh,
is Batman the more consistent moneymaker? Yeah, probably so. Like, that's why they keep making those movies. But DC goes so deep as far as, like, there's so many people excited about all the stuff they're doing, like Young Justice, like all the stuff on HBO is some of the most popular stuff. People just don't talk about it because it doesn't make the millions that Batman movies make.
and Jimmy's wrong as usual. That's all you can say.
So yeah, I think they have so much fun stuff, so many cool characters.
Yeah, I thought like Peacemaker was good. Was it
Yeah,
quirky? I mean, it was a little extra for me. I thought it was good though. I thought it was very
yeah,
well.
yeah. Doom Patrol is probably one of the
I
best
heard
things
that.
they've ever made. Um, Now, okay, Jimmy says in film. Yeah, I also really don't know, but I agree with that. But then again, I am one of the people that do like the Zack Snyder movies. But even then, we're getting so many other movies outside of that. Like the Suicide Squad was really fun. I think
Shazam.
Harley is definitely their other like big A's in the hole. Um, and I think anytime they will make a Superman movie, like people will go see it. Right?
Yeah,
Wonder Woman too. Like they have the DC characters are more like they're kind of larger than life. They're not as relatable as the Marvel stuff, which I think it's one of the big reasons Marvel's having so much success because their characters are more relatable with like everyday people. But DC's are more like it's like a pantheon of like
yeah.
so
Everybody knows him. I also think that I Birds of Prey I wasn't a huge fan of. It was fun.
yeah, it was a fun movie. I
Yeah,
really liked it. Yeah,
but what I was gonna say is that she produced it.
yeah,
She was an executive producer on that. And I think she's a producer on. I'm not positive. You don't have to write letters. I think she's an executive producer on the Suicide Squad. If she's not, she might be a producer. I'm not positive, but I know she has control of the Harley character for the most part. And you're talking about one of the best actresses working right now.
yeah.
So my question is, and we started talking about this last time you were on. We talked about casting a new Harley. Remember, we were talking about this a little bit on. I think we were on Discourse. We were talking about Anatomy of a Villain, and you were saying I had said that I think it's going to be hard to cast another Harley
Mhm.
because they're going to automatically get compared to Margot, and you're not talking about
Right.
Megan Fox. No shades in Megan Fox fans. You're talking about a top tier actress. What do you think?
No, I think it's always gonna be something that we I don't know. I mean, I think that's just the way we're wired, right? Like comparisons are the thing we do. But
Yeah,
once the like if the product is good, like then people forget about that. Like I know a lot of people were upset when Margot Robbie wasn't really involved with the Harley Quinn animated stuff,
mm-hmm.
but I think Kaylee Cuoco was great, as the character. Like it's a whole different portrayal.
Right.
Uh, Same thing with um, our favorite Joker, Heath Ledger. Like we were,
Yeah.
he was always going to get compared to Jack and Cesar Romero and stuff. Like, but once he made the character his own and did something different, like we all forgot about that. And then that same thing happened with Joaquin. Like how we already got Ledger, like, and the same thing happened with Jared Leto, and that one wasn't for everyone. Which we understand it was a very weird. Both versions that we've seen are very weird versions of the Joker. And overall, people have strong feelings about Jared Leto in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, if the person doing it is successful, people will forget about the comparisons. Uh,
Yeah. I
you know,
think the only problem with DC is that they have so many timelines or lines where Joaquin's movies one timeline,
yeah,
there's the main timeline, and then there's Ezra Miller, and then there's the Battinson timeline. I
yeah,
think the only issue I can possibly see, and you can tell me what you think, is that it's going to be a lot, because I think that's what's happening with Marvel too. I think Marvel's becoming very daunting to keep up with. But you
right,
can talk
yeah,
about DC first.
yeah. Marvel Studios and the MCU have kind of stumbled. Well, they've created two problems. Excuse me. They've created two problems. Which one of them was already happening with the comics, right? The long term continuity, like how much research or homework you need to do before watching something. Like I think Doc Strange is the perfect example. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the first times people had asked me like, what do I need to watch before
Yeah.
going to Doc Strange? And overall, I think if you just watch WandaVision, you're good.
Yeah.
Like at the simplest level, obviously, if you watch more stuff, you're gonna get more out of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the first problem there, and that's the issue with the comics, right? Like nobody wants to jump into reading Detective Comics 1027, right? People hate that. People hate starting from like an arbitrary point. They want to start from a number one, which is why the comic industry makes so many number ones and reboots and stuff.
Right.
Um, but the other problem is that because the universe and the continuity has been so successful, now they've conditioned people to want that for everything, as opposed to just wanting good stories and good movies.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I want a connected universe,
Yeah.
right? Like, why? What? I mean, it's cool. It's like an additional bonus if everything's kind of connected. But what if you just get like a really really good Batman movie with Robert Pattinson? You know? Or what if you just get like a really really good Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix and then he gets an Oscar for it?
I
So
think
like
um Keegan, I can't remember that man's first name.
Michael Keaton. Oh
No,
well,
Keegan.
Barry
Keegan.
Keegan. Barry Keegan.
He's playing the new Joker, right?
It looks that way. It looks that
Yeah.
way. I mean, we haven't gotten any confirmation, but obviously DC's kind of playing that close to the vest, which they should. And yeah, keep the Joker for Pattinson's. Keep Pattinson's Joker
Mm,
for like the end game, right? Right. Let that universe be built out. We don't even fully know Batman yet. I don't think Bruce Wayne knows it. Like
yeah.
Bruce Wayne is not really a well-defined character yet because in this movie he was like 90% of the time he was Batman. And that was the narrative, right? I think
Yeah.
the narrative was about Bruce Wayne figuring out who he was supposed to be.
Yep.
Um, so so
All right.
yeah, yeah,
Let's see what they're saying in the chat. Hold on a second.
yeah.
Jimmy,
I'm looking at a lot of Legos
yeah,
comments.
Jimmy's saying what if? Yes. What if helped for um, Doctor Strange too? Oh, there's nothing wrong with connecting universe. We can talk
No,
about.
no, there's not. I agree. If you can do it successfully, good on you. Kevin Feige, whatever. I don't know if he sold his soul to Mephisto or what kind of deal he's got with the devil or
Right.
something. It's what kind of dark magics he's using.
Yeah.
But yeah, more power to you if you can do a connected universe. But I think people lose sight of like, hey, how about we just get a good story with the
Yep.
characters and a good adaptation of the material. So and yeah, I agree. Lego mentions the animated series. Yes, I mean I think Arlene Quinn, I believe that was her name, the voice actress, and Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy as well. Like they excel in their roles as those three characters.
Um, Leonard Kim said, "How dare you? I have not been conditioned. I want to connect the universe by my own volition." Okay.
Oh, okay. That all right. Maybe I mean there are people that do want that in their like they love continuity and stuff. I get that. I like continuity
Yeah,
too. Don't get me wrong. I like knowing things. I like knowing why things are happening the way they're happening.
but
Uh,
what do you think about this? I feel like the difference is that DC's multiverse, whatever, the different lines of continuity,
mhm.
are all the same characters for the most part. There might be some vacillation, but like I said, with Marvel, it's Miss Marvel now, and it's
Yeah, yeah.
Moon Knight, and it's this and it's that, and I think after a while, it's just going to be hard to keep up with.
Um, I mean, I think we're at a time where it's really there's so many resources out there for you to like look for those connections or like there's people making content. There's people like people explaining stuff. Like it's a whole subgenre now, like of content. Like yeah, now we're gonna analyze to death the stuff you love because we love talking about it. We're gonna dissect these movies and the genre and the stories, and then we'll make a video with 10,000 plot lines, and we'll put it all in a neat little box.
Right.
We'll also speculate about the next 10 years of these things. So
Let's see. Let's have some more. Miss Marvel is pretty good. What do you think of Miss Marvel?
I'm really enjoying Miss Marvel as far as like just the story's great. The show looks fantastic. I think
Yeah.
everyone's performance is really great, and also getting to see a different side of a different culture that you don't get to see a lot, like just another community and how they handle stuff and the kind of hardships they go through, but also like how they celebrate, how they interact with each other. Now, as far as that stuff, I don't know how. I guess I don't know how authentic it is. So, and I do
It's
rely
it's,
on other
it's
content
pretty
creators.
it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I do rely on a lot of people to like figure out like from those specific communities. Like, you tell me,
Yeah.
what do you think of the show? Like, how do you? Because there's things that how do they find it? Is it authentic? Is there things that they're getting right? Sometimes writers tend to lean into some of the tropes that maybe don't hold true anymore. But as far as just all the other stuff that I feel like I can speak on, like yeah, I'm really enjoying the show.
I work with a lot of couples that because I do therapy with couples.
Yeah,
I work with a lot of couples that are Muslim and Korean. So I have a lot of those age groups
yeah,
community. So a lot of and one of my wife's best friends is Muslim. So a lot of the things that I've seen are authentic to what
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been told and what I've experienced. Like going to mosque and the partition and stuff like that. And it's
Right.
just such a different culture. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that it's a brown girl and she's a teenager. I think that's important to see that on TV. And I think it's important to see a superhero who's not, quote unquote perfect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that's the thing about these Marvel characters, right? They're more relatable. Another thing I really like is like, especially the interactions with their family. Like there's a lot of things that are very similar. Growing up
Mm-hmm.
in a similar situation as far as like being a minority and
Mm-hmm.
maybe not being fully part of the culture or like having your own culture to worry about, or trying to balance that like being a teenager in the US, but also like trying
Oh,
to keep your traditions and stuff like that. With the like, I love anytime the aunties come up because like we all know the we all know the aunties,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
We all know these community people that get together and do stuff. I mean, I'm not too religious at the moment, but I did grow up going to church and going through the rituals of being raised Catholic. So I imagine a lot of that stuff is very similar as far as I mean the religions are different, but the ideas are very similar as far as like the community aspect of it.
Let's see what else they're saying.
I would love a Midnighter and Apollo movie, TV show, like whatever. Mm. I think
Who
they're
was that?
great.
I don't know who that is.
Midnighter and Apollo are like they're from a DC adjacent universe called Wildstorm. So they are not exactly they're not always DC canon. It depends on what DC wants to do with them. But they're also a couple. They're two gay men that love each other and they have a really really fun relationship.
Okay.
Uh, one of them is kind of like Superman as far as the power set, and also the attitude is very similar. And Lego may need to correct me on some of this stuff. And but then Midnighter is more like a mix between it's like a Batman that will cross that line that the Punisher crosses.
Yeah.
Very violent, but they're it's really interesting to see how they interact with the outside world versus their interactions between themselves. So yeah, really really fun stuff. Which I recommend if you guys haven't read any of that stuff, go check it out. But I would love to see them adapted to a live action or even an animated format.
Hold on. Let's see what they're saying. They got powers
Yeah,
after being
yeah.
abducted by
See,
aliens. Their
the cooler
children.
versions of Batman is it's like what if Batman and Superman were dating and then they're also a lot cooler.
Well, yeah. Well, we know Batman's not that cool. So, as you guys know, me and Danny had this ongoing Joker Batman world debate. So, there's a couple of questions I did preempt you that I would ask.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But before I do that, I do want to ask you a question. What do you think would have changed with Dark Knight Rises if Joker was in it? If Heath Ledger was still alive?
You know,
And where do you think they would have taken it?
I think about that a lot. Like, it's very unfortunate that Heath Ledger passed. But I do think about that. I think in the for anybody that's a big nerd like me, in the novelization of the third movie, there is like a passage that addresses why the Joker's not around, and it's because when Bane broke everyone out of the prisons, he left the Joker in there because he knew that he would if he knew he was too dangerous to be left free,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I think the story would have been different. Or maybe I also think that because the Dark Knight story was so well told and it ended in a really interesting place for both characters, I think it would have been smart not to even address it again in the next movie. Now I don't know if Nolan would have gone back to it. Maybe we would have gotten a fourth movie where he does come back. Uh, but I feel like maybe Nolan already had this plan to like not really. If you've seen some of other Christopher Nolan's movies, he loves this. He loves really setting up this whole like what's it called? It's from The Prestige where like the setup, the turn, and the Prestige or whatever the big reveal, right? So like these 3 act
Right.
structure and storytelling. And that's kind of what the trilogy was for the Dark Knight. So yeah, I don't know. I do think about that a lot, though. I mean, I definitely think Bane and Joker would have been at odds.
Oh, yeah.
Joker, I feel like Bane was too controlled, and he wouldn't like that. Like, there's not enough chaos for Joker to feel like it's something's exciting. So yeah, Midnighter's a boss. But yeah, that would
No
be
Midnight. I'm not down here. Do you think he would have had to be more of the? I don't want to say sidekick, because from and I haven't seen every depiction of Bane. Bane's typically depicted as more of like the sidekick henchman type.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think he would have been more of that if the Joker was actually involved, or do you think they would have been doing their own separate things?
No, I definitely think that Nolan wanted to stay away as far as he could from the version that we've seen before in I think it was Batman and Robin,
Yes.
right? Or yeah, Batman and Robin.
With Ivy, yeah. With Uma Thurman.
Oh yeah, Jimmy, I love Christopher Nolan. So yes, The Prestige is an amazing film. Sorry, just addressing something in the chat.
We don't acknowledge Jimmy.
Listen, if somebody brings up Nolan movies, I don't care who they are or what they're doing. I'm gonna look into it.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah. I think it would have been. I think Nolan just wanted to. He wanted to ground the movies as much as he could, and I think making Bane into this like tactical person, as
Right.
opposed to just like this big brute that's full of. Which I love that version in the comics too, like the Bane that is powered by this toxin, this poison, right? I also
Uh,
find that very interesting.
mm,
So, but yeah, it would have been completely different. But I don't know. I don't really know. I don't. Christopher Nolan's a weird dude. Like,
understated.
I can't even fathom how a mind like some of those people's work.
I just, you know, he gets the credit for so much, but I wonder how many people are really involved in the brain trust.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I know his brother's a big part of that too. Like a lot of the movies that he writes with his brother. I will say, when Tenet was announced, and just this quick tangent, when Tenet was announced, where we knew that the concept was like this movie that you go back and forth. I was my theory was, is Christopher Nolan making a movie that you can watch forward and backward and then still get a story out of it? That's not what happened. I don't know. I think that's probably too ambitious. And some of those aspects do get into the actual movie, but yeah. Anyways,
I
yeah,
heard that if you watch Tenet with the closed captions on, it's a better experience.
I mean, because you can understand it.
You
Yes.
can understand what they're saying. I know they said that he messes with the audio and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
the sound mixing is really weird. So I'm glad I didn't. I mean, I would have loved to have seen it at the theater. Unfortunately, that was a time where like COVID was peak.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
and so, but yeah, I liked it at home when I watched it. When I finally watched it at home, and probably part of it was just the anticipation of not being able to watch it for like 6 months.
Another question that I was thinking about. There's an audio novel for Batman now. Did you hear about this?
The podcast
Yes.
on
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Spotify. Yeah, I haven't checked it out because
Okay.
um I hate dealing with Spotify just because how bad the company is.
Uh,
But so until I really have to, then I won't give them my money. But
right.
uh, but yeah, I do
I've
like.
heard.
I
I've
do.
heard offhand good things. I haven't. I
Well, I
haven't.
mean, it was the number one podcast. Like it dethroned the Rogan Experience, right? So like, there's something there.
Wow. That's
So maybe, hopefully, maybe they'll release that like some kind of like audio book or something where I can actually purchase the content.
that'd be
Um,
cool.
so, but I did listen to the audiobook for the prequel to the Batman movie, which I also recommend.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't normally do books without pictures. Uh, uh, but this one was Batman, so like I had to check it out. But yeah, the audiobook is like it's like a 3 hour audiobook. So
I'm done with anything deep throated and Rogan. Yeah.
oh yeah.
So, one of the fun questions I wanted to ask you. I preempted. Danny knew his answer already. Do you think Batman? So, if you had your druthers, do you think Batman would make a better Joker, or Joker would make a better Batman?
And when I said that I knew the answer, I didn't lie, but I was being tricky because I think the answer is both. Now let me run this by you.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You always on the fence.
The thing is, this is not the fence. I have actual evidence of both of them just being better than the other one. So we have. I don't know if you've heard of the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes.
Okay, so real quick backstory for anybody that doesn't know. In this other dark multiverse, Bruce Wayne actually kills the Joker.
Uh-huh.
Now the Joker set up some kind of trap in case Batman did kill him, where he would infect Batman with the Joker toxin, therefore making Batman carry on the curse of being a Joker.
Right.
So then you have this one character that has both all the attributes of Batman, his intelligence, his intellect, his like like all the stuff that make Batman Batman, but also you have unlocked the like all the kind of safeguards and lines that Batman won't cross because he has a moral compass are gone because now
Mm,
he thinks like the Joker.
I love it.
So yeah, it's a great character. I've really enjoyed all the stories he's in. He almost destroyed the multiverse, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but then on the flip side, we recently got a book called Batman the White Knight, in which we have Joker who is scared of being the Joker. Like Batman chases him down to like this factory and force feeds him like all these pills. So he actually regains his sanity, and while he's in jail, he studies the law. He gets himself out of jail. Like Joker becomes Jack Napier, that's the name they gave him,
Uh-huh.
which is one of the possible names that the Joker could have had in his origin. So he beats Batman at his own game by just being a normal person. He becomes like the mayor of the city. It is insane how successful like a sane Joker is.
Oh yeah.
So so yeah, that's why I said when you asked me that, I immediately thought of both of those characters in the books. So that's why it's kind of a cheating answer because, but I do think overall, Joker or Batman would be a better Joker because I feel like it's easier.
Mm.
I feel like it's easier because you can just do whatever the fuck you want as opposed to actually having to be a functioning member of society, right? On some level, or having a line to you can't cross. I think that's very important for Batman.
Yeah.
So that there's some kind of restraints on you being as well, I guess unleashing your full potential. So I guess my final answer is Batman being Joker, but my extended answer, the extended cut of my answer, the Zack Snyder cut, is what I just said right before that. So
We've had this conversation before, and I know you don't like this take. What if Batman's the bad guy?
oh, I think he'd be terrifying.
No, I'm saying, what if he really is the bad guy?
Okay, I see
What
what you mean.
if the line of demarcation
Yeah,
is so small that because
I
you could
mean,
really
listen,
go ahead.
I get that because why would I root for a guy that's working on his trauma by like beating up other people and putting them in jail and like why would that be allowed? So I completely get that overall. Like he is a vigilante, he's not. And a lot of people make the argument of like, well, Bruce Wayne could do so much more with his money for society. Yeah, of course he could. Would that make for a good story? I don't know. Maybe I'm not a writer.
No.
But also like a good writer also has they've told stories where, yeah, the Bruce Wayne and the Wayne Foundation and like they are doing stuff for the city. Like it's not like the money just sits there, right? So,
That's
but
true.
that's not an engaging story as far as like superhero shenanigans go. Um,
Mm. Well, I mean, I think it would be a good story if Batman
I think, yeah,
became
I
a
think,
villain just straight out, not became the Joker, and then Joker. So if Batman became a bad guy, would the Joker have to flip, become a good guy in order to still be his counterbalance?
hmm.
I think my premise is that he
Yeah,
probably would be.
he would definitely find Batman boring if he was a bad guy, right? Like if they were both doing the same shtick,
Mhm.
because that's kind of what Joker figured, trying to figure out Batman. And I don't remember what story this was, but I recently read that the thing that annoys the Joker the most is that he's just doing random chaos shit, like right, or at
Yeah.
least that's what he thinks he's doing. Oh, I remember where it's from. I'll plug him in a minute. But the thing that really annoys the Joker is that Batman always finds a way to make sense of why Joker's doing what he's doing, even if that wasn't Joker's original intent. Like Batman makes things make sense, or at least for himself, he has to make it make sense. And this was it was my buddy Paul from the I Read Comics podcast. There's a podcast called Building a Better Batmobile, or a series where they're reviewing all of Grant Morrison's work. So that's kind of where that came from. So yeah, go check that out.
Ooh, I like it. I think that I think he would be compelled to do whatever the opposite of whatever the Batman does.
I
And
think so, and I think that'd be fun. I mean, I
yeah,
think
it would
it'd
be
be a good
really fun
story.
if they just did like a flip,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
because it would be a different spin.
I
And
think
that's
anytime the Joker successfully messes with Batman, like recently in the comics, Joker took all of Batman's money. So Batman's poor. Like uh he's not like regular people poor, like he's like, rich people poor, but still.
right.
But yeah,
Pretty
it's really
much.
funny. Like,
All right. Let's see. So you ready to get into this comic book since we're an hour
yeah,
in?
listen, hey, you're driving. I'm over here on the Robin seat.
Let's get you're never Robin. You're always Batman because I'm always the Joker. So let's get into it. The three Jokers, and I'm going to do a very basic premise of it, and
Sure,
then you
sure.
can elucidate. Um, there is how it was explained is there's comedian Joker, there's criminal Joker, and there's clown Joker. Right?
Hmm.
I don't know if you think anything different. And the whole point is, I don't know the pre-story, but Batman asked this question of who the Joker really was. I guess it was some story about some seed he had, and he was
Yep.
trying to figure out um, who the real Joker was, and that's how they came up with the premise for this story. So
Hmm.
you can expand on that if you want.
Yeah. So back in, I want to say 2015 or so, there was an event called Dark Side War, written by the same creator.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened is that Batman, at this point, sat in Metron's chair. Now, Metron's chair is the chair of knowledge for all the universe.
Yeah.
And he asked the chair, "Who is the Joker?" And we never knew the answer immediately, right? Like
Yeah.
we knew that the chair told Batman something, but that was kind of like that's kind of the setup for this whole. So since 2015 or so, we've been kind of waiting to get that answer. And this book kind of answers that, where they introduced these three Jokers. I think that was the answer, right? That it's not just one person; it's multiple people, and they kind of switch back and forth depending on what mood they're in. And then their plan is to just keep making more Jokers too.
They were trying. So what I got from, and this is a little bit of the interpretation of what I
Yeah,
heard. Again, um, there was the three distinct Jokers. Um, so pretty much the OG Joker, which was the older Joker, the
yeah, yeah.
Killing Joke Joker, and the new Joker, who was, I guess,
Just a
mm,
more modern version.
yeah,
Yeah,
more modern, a little bit, but they said he was a little bit more violent. I think he was
yeah.
more.
Hmm. Hmm.
They all kind of, they all commit a crime at the same time. And then Batman, Red Hood, and Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl are trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go on this crazy journey. So I like you. Let's start with after the aquarium part. After they go aquarium, and they have all of the Joker fish and all that stuff. The Joker shark,
Yep.
and
Well, the big shocking thing at the first after the I because I read this in separate issues, like one issue at a time. I believe the first, and it's been a while. I didn't have time to reread it, but at the first issue, I think Red Hood kills the Joker.
yeah, I was about to talk. This is so that
Okay, okay,
happens. That happens during
at the aquarium.
at the aquarium. So
Yep.
they end up at the aquarium. Red Hood, Batman, and Barbara end up teaming up because one of the Jokers managed to escape. Red Hood was trying to get to him. Batman stopped him. They end up going to the aquarium.
Yep.
So picking up where you said, they catch, we'll call him the OG Joker, which is the older Joker.
Yep.
So the Killing Joke Joker. So for this point, we'll say the criminal Joker. There's a criminal Joker, comedian Joker, and there's another one. Criminal, comedian, and
The gangster one.
Mm, well, the criminal and comedian are the two newer ones, so I would say
Yeah,
the criminal's more like the Killing Joke Joker.
yeah. I feel like he's also a little bit more like Jack Nicholson
Yeah,
Joker. Yeah. So I mean, I found the premise pretty interesting, and I
yeah,
think a big part of it is also the anticipation of like me waiting for this answer for so many years,
yeah,
right? Uh, but but I think after that, like Red Hood kills the Joker, and then
yeah.
he has to also deal
So,
with
so
Batman.
yeah, he
But
kills the older Joker. So he
yep.
kills like kind of like the OG Joker.
And at this point, they don't know that there are multiple Jokers,
Right.
right?
No, and then they're starting to plant. Sorry, Easter eggs that there's more than one. You know, baiting pretty much Red Hood. So what I liked about this part is Red Hood, Jason Todd killed the older Joker, but he's talking to the older Joker and he's telling him about how he should have let him die and all this stuff, and that his life was meaningless. And Red Hood was like, "No, it's not. That's not true." So he ends up killing him, but it's because the OG Joker kind of mind fucked him into killing him. He kind of tricks him and manipulates him. So I felt that little back and forth was, to me, that had
Yeah,
allusion to Dark Knight, like the Heath Ledger kind of Joker to it.
yeah. I think the big thing that like Joker in the Dark Knight, like he wants to make Batman break his code,
Yep.
and I think one of the character one of the differences between Red Hood and the way Batman operates is that Red Hood will cross that line. I don't think he has that issue, right?
Yeah.
And I think he also feels like I think Red Hood feels like he's doing this for Batman
Yeah.
because Batman didn't do it for him, so Joker killed him, and then he came back as Red Hood, right? Um, so he wants to do this for Batman, so Batman can finally like rest and take a break and like
Yeah.
and be Bruce. Like he feels like he's helping out, but that's not obviously that's never the way Batman's gonna see it.
No.
So the book deals with a lot of that, and I like that part of the book. I think it was interesting.
Yeah. I the first part, like that
Mhm.
interaction was awesome. What's up, Trench? That interaction was awesome because what I liked most was the mind games. Like that's what I
Yeah,
like. Joker does, like when he's violent and all that stuff. That's the best part.
yeah.
Uh,
When it's like the Joker from maybe like Seven or Usual Suspects or something like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. And then it's um, the clown Joker was the third one.
Yeah,
So when they're going back and forth, and he was saying, "Your life's insignificant. You did everything I wanted you to do. I let you live. So you're almost my Robin." And I was like,
yeah, yeah,
"Oh, that's pretty tough." And Barbara was there, but she's not really. It's like kind of she's not important. But when she sees Red Hood has the gun and is trying to shoot him, she throws the batarang, but misses. And then
yeah.
she said, "You killed him," and and don't think I know more about it than Danny does. I just did this today, so that's why it's like super fresh.
No,
Uh,
it's good.
so uh, he questions her, and how many times do you miss? You wanted him to die too. You know this was for the best.
Yeah,
So then they get into this moral dilemma because we know what's coming next. She's got to go tell Batman, and then Red Hood kind of disappears.
right. And they pick the three characters that probably Joker has messed with the most, right? He killed Jason Todd. He shot Barbara Gordon, and obviously he did all of this because of Batman.
Right.
So that dynamic. Now, one thing I wasn't a big fan of is Batman. Not Batman. Jason Todd and Barbara hooking up. But
They just kissed apparently, but I was like, that's weird.
yeah. Like I don't know. Like I feel like I know people deal with trauma differently, but that feels like the lazy way of trying to deal with trauma, like by trying to make them a couple. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't enjoy that very much. And I did what I did like was the dynamic of when I think we got some flashbacks or maybe just interactions between all three of the Jokers,
Yeah.
because in the end, each of the Jokers kind of like feels that they deserve to be in charge of the other ones, right? Like whether it's the newer one or the comedian or the OG one, like whatever the case is, like each of the Jokers is kind of just looking out for themselves, anyways.
I think it's super. I think it's super important. That dynamic is important,
Yeah.
um, because I think that's a real dynamic. That's what I like about
Mm-hmm.
story. It's very humanistic. It's very about relating to each other, and their whole dynamic is so messed up. Because the guy who was, doing the review of it was saying that
Yeah.
Batman almost looks at them like his kids, like Barbara's a
Right.
kid,
Of course.
So there's that whole parental instinct too. Um, so after they left there, I think the next book starts with them doing dinner, or the first one ends. I don't know. It wasn't broken up specifically,
Right.
like
Yeah. I
this
don't
is
think
the
that one's
book.
broken up as well, but
So it was. They were at dinner, and this was, the the, the Joker from, I think, the Killing Joke,
hmm
because his wife was the one that got killed, right? And she was
yeah.
pregnant, so I don't know if he was hallucinating or having a flashback at dinner. So they're at dinner, and he was having this whole conversation, and then my question was, did that dinner scene remind you of, or have illusions of, like the Black Widow dinner scene?
Yeah. A little bit. I can see that. I can definitely see that. That's interesting. I don't think I had thought about it like that, but now that you kind of frame it in that way.
Because it just like it felt like, because, well, the way they were narrating, like describing it, that
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody really wanted to be there, but they were all there, and they were like eating octopus, and they were he was making bad jokes, and it's just like, it was like the dad is trying to be the dad and keep it together, and the kids are kind of just there, not really want to be there, bickering, and then the mom, who's should be happy but she's not, and then I like that dynamic of, you know he's not really they're not really there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's also kind of where there's some. I start getting into problems with the story because it does get a little. It feels like it gets more complicated than it should have been. Because in the end, the payoff is that there really is no payoff for anyone, right? Like the Joker's just once around, he just mess around with people. He's just fucking with them again.
Hmm.
Um,
So we can talk about, the end from what I saw and what the way he interpreted it,
sure.
and um, spoiler, his premise was that the Killing Joker was the main Joker, was the original Joker.
Yeah.
The other two he kind of created,
Right.
with the kind of serum thing. In that, this is after, he got with Joe Chill and he forgave him. But what I liked about it was that the Joker was saying, well, when you didn't kill Joe Chill, the person who killed his parents,
Right.
you forgave them. I allowed you to heal that and forgive him, which I thought was a crazy premise. I allowed you to forgive him.
Yeah. It's almost like
Now,
Joker's giving him therapy in a
Joker's
really
giving him
fucked up
therapy.
way.
Yeah. But he also said that, you know, that now I'm going to be the only thing you have issues with.
Yep. Yep.
And I was like, wow.
It's almost like he did what the Lego Joker wanted in a
Yep.
very different and
Yes.
violent way, right?
There were so many, the Lego, because again, I think we
Yeah,
actually
we talked about this. We talked
that
about
that the Lego Batman has the best Joker Batman dynamic.
yeah.
Um, I think it's interesting. What are we saying? Uh, Star Wars.
I can address that later if you want.
No, you can bring up. Matt, can you bring up this question, please, sir?
All right. So, question: there are a ton of Star Wars comics these days. Do they compare with the major series on quality? or are they fodder? Fodder, French. No, I think I've read. I recommend definitely all the Darth Vader series. I think they've all been great. Um, and the Star Wars comics, like they fill in the stories between the movies. Right now we are at the second one, between Empire and Return of the Jedi. That's kind of the era that they're writing about. But yeah, I highly recommend if you want to check those out. Make sure to just kind of pick a point, like pick a number one and start there, because it's all canon until it's not, until a movie tells you it's not. If you want to jump into something that you're familiar with, they're about to adapt the Mandalorian season one into the comics. So even if it's a story you already know, you get a little bit of a different thing. Comics usually tend to expand on things that the live action stuff doesn't have time for. But yeah, they get a lot of very talented people there, and then you can read about stuff before from the prequels or the, whatever era of Star Wars you want. They have comics for. So highly recommend. Anytime you want to read, I'm never gonna steer you away from reading comics.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it was just a really, so back to the Three Jokers, like
Yes, sir.
the therapy. And I also hadn't kind of put that together till we had this conversation, right? Like the whole, like, the goal of the Joker from this and the Lego movie
Mhm.
is like the same.
Yeah, I
They
just
just
thought about it too.
they just went about it very differently. So so yeah, I think, and I love the art in this book too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you can definitely tell that the artist and the colors and all that, they spend so much time. I love when they revisit his scars. Oh, I love that,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the panels of
That's that band. That band.
revisiting all the trauma and like how he got how he got each of those scars,
Yep.
like Bane breaking his back, Catwoman like slicing him, and his relationship with Alfred, I always really love too. So
I know a better Kindle before. Okay. Um, kind of jumping back. I think this is more like the third book. The second book, I'm not saying it's bad, but I felt like it was like filler.
it does feel like that, because
Felt
I
like
feel like the big events happen in the first and the last part of
yes,
it. Yeah.
because I think kind of the way I see it is, you know, when Red Hot Hood kills Joker is big, and then I think the end, well, not the end, the near end, when Red Hood gets kidnapped again,
Yep.
he goes into the aquatic center or whatever center it is,
Yep.
and they're making all the Jokers by himself, and then Batman, and Barbara eventually come, but he gets caught again, and
Yep.
it's almost a restaging of which one was that? Was that Red Hood when he got killed?
Death in the Family. Yeah.
Death in the
Death
Family.
in the Family.
Uh, I've seen some of the animated series, but I haven't read the comic.
It's. I mean, you just need. There's only one issue called, I think it's called A Lonely Place of Dying or something. That's the main. That's the main issue where it happens.
Uh,
And I don't know if you know this, but back then DC ran a poll, like with one of those 1-800 numbers where you could call to decide the outcome of what happened to Robin. And people dislike Jason Todd so much that they're like, yeah, kill him, whatever.
yeah, and the guy had actually mentioned that, but that I mean, they said that Red Hood came about because yes, they didn't like Jason Todd,
Mm-hmm.
and they liked a different Robin, but I think they liked the Red Hood or the idea of it, so that's
Yeah.
how he kind of was reincarnated, like they always do in comic
Yeah,
books.
in the Hush storyline, they introduced this concept of the Red Hood as like Clayface is pretend. Well, I mean, I think they rewrote that stuff, but
Mhm.
Clayface is pretending to be Jason Todd back from the dead, and I think people were so, like, they reacted so well to that
Mhm.
that they kind of made a story and they brought him back in. I like to compare Red Hood a lot to the Winter Soldier,
Ooh.
where it was like characters that
Ooh.
died a long time ago and they were dead for a long time,
Mhm.
and then finally they brought them back, like in this repackage, more violent, both of them, right? More
Yeah.
violent than the original incarnation. So
But you also find out that Red Hood's like constantly in pain, and they don't really talk about it because they,
right,
getting hit in the head. Well, I know in this version they hit him in the head like 3 or 4 times with the crowbar. So it's
Yeah,
almost rewalking the same steps. And they were trying, the Jokers were trying to make Red Hood into the next Joker because they were
right.
working the premise
To
that he
rep-
hates Batman more than they do.
to replace the other one that he
Yeah.
killed too. Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think uh, we they don't really address that in this book. But normally, when somebody's brought with the Lazarus Pit, which is the original way that Red Hood came back, you come back different, right?
Come
If
back
you,
empty.
anybody that's seen like some of the Arrow shows or whatever,
Yeah.
like you know that if you get brought back with the Lazarus Pit, unless you're Ra's al Ghul, because he's already that way anyway, so
Yeah.
you come back different. So
Um, the big question they asked, you know, I liked when not OG when it's pretty much comedian Joker and criminal Joker
yep,
going back and forth. They're both kind of interrogating, abusing Red Hood, and they ask the question, "Who's really the Joker?"
yep,
And then that's when they bring up that he's a concept, he's an idea, and that's when I was gonna like, "You're not gonna do this whole comic book and not tell who do you think the Joker is?"
yep,
Um, I did like that idea. Like I said, I thought when they had the hood on, the red hood, and they had painted the Joker smile,
yeah.
I thought maybe they had put the toxins in there and he became the Joker. So I got geeked and I was like, oh, you know,
It looked cool, and there were. I'll tell you, there's a lot of different covers for that book. I have a lot of, like, I have multiple copies of the same issue because they all look different on the outside. So yeah, really interesting stuff though.
and they paralleled Red Hood a lot with the Jokers.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right. I think he's. I mean, he's also gone through a lot of trauma. I think the difference is that Red Hood, like it or not, he cares about Bruce
Mm-hmm.
in a different way because Red Hood cares about Bruce, Joker cares about Batman. Whether we believe that he knows who he is or not, because
Yeah,
I think they play with that idea in the story too, that he knows their identities. Um,
the real Joker.
right,
So jumping to the end, the Killing Joke Joker knows that Batman is Bruce, and that's when he's giving the speech. He said, "I don't care who you are.
right,
Your personality is not important.
yeah,
I just enjoy,
yeah. It's never about.
that."
He would never reveal to the public who Batman is because then the game's over.
Yeah, and then they were talking about that's when the Joker hit him over the head, and he like become like the Joker, and then they're talking, and they like tell, and then you go into it, you go into the next scene. Go Barbara and Batman are able to save Red Hood. Well, they eventually find him,
Yeah, they find him.
take him out, and this is when Batman and Red Hood have their interaction, or
Hmm.
Jason and Batman, pretty much. And he starts to blame Batman for dying. He's like, "Thank God, at least you made it this time in time."
Right.
And I was like, whoo, 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 whoo.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if you read I would recommend if you like that, you should read the Under the Red Hood story, or watch the movie if you haven't seen it. Actually, the movie is really good. It's a really good adaptation of the story.
Okay.
It's an animated movie. I think it's on HBO. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about Jason and the reasons that he's angry at Batman.
Hmm. During that, so I have a question for you. The Red Hood questions whether says that Batman was too weak to kill a Joker. So my question is is Batman showing strength by his action or showing strength by his restraint?
I I think, and I kind of agree with maybe Batman on this, that killing the Joker would be the easy way, but but how much is it worth it to not take the easy way for all the shit that the Joker's doing? That's a real dilemma. Like,
Yeah,
like all the stuff he's been doing, all the people that suffer because of him. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's why I asked.
that's a tough one. That's a tough one because, like, yeah, like I want to say that, yeah, no, you shouldn't. Like, killing's not the answer, but a free Joker running around, it's probably worse. So
Uh,
maybe Red Hood's got the right idea.
mm-hmm. And I think that's the dilemma that isn't that Superman's dilemma with Zod.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to kill him, but you know, is a dead Zod better than an alive
Yeah, yeah, right.
megalomaniac
Mm-hmm.
that has
And then,
all
but
Superman powers?
and then but it could be a slippery slope, right? We've seen that there's stories where Superman can like he kills and lobotomizes people, and then like he becomes like this dictator. So
Oh, which one is that? Because I
that's
watched.
it's Injustice.
I actually like that.
Yeah,
I
I
forgot.
like the concept. I like the comic better, and I like the concept a lot. I think the animated movie was a little bad with his execution, but the games are fun. Like the video games, that the main story of the games is that. So
I I don't get a chance to. I'm not really a video game person, but it's hard because I kind of like have to choose if I'm going to do the movie or going to do the animated or
no,
going to
I
do
get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah.
because it's just because like you said, who wants to start? If I started reading like Joker comic book or Batman comic books today, it
Hmm.
would be I'd be so far behind. I mean, and I think that's good. The good thing about the movies is that you get the premises of these characters.
Yeah, and I think that's why they reboot the movie so much because they want to give people an easy access point. Now, if you watch my channel, I can tell you easy access points for these stories.
What channel is that?
That's a next issue podcast right here. So
Um, what else do I want to talk about at the
what
end?
else? I don't know. You tell me. The chat's a little quiet.
I know.
I'm afraid Joker's got to them.
We probably did. It's a lot. But you know what? It's a big story. It's a lot of stuff to condense down into
Oh
three
yeah.
comic books. Because my question is, okay, so here's a question. And they can chime in. Is it better to know who the Joker is or to not know?
I like not knowing. I just love the idea. Even like in the comics when you have these, even in the Killing Joke, uh, like the idea that he's just messing with Batman, telling him that backstory of like it could be
Yeah.
real, it could be not.
Yeah.
Then that's the joke. And even at the end of the Killing Joke, like before they made that story canon of like it was very ambiguous ending because there's a sound effect of a snap. So we
Mm.
are. I think the implication is that Batman kills the Joker after that at the end, right? That he snaps his neck or something. Obviously, but then they wanted to make that story canon, so they had to make it where he didn't kill him. But yeah, I like not knowing. Even in the Joaquin Phoenix movie, like I like at the end that in my viewing of that movie, I think the ending is just him that he was just messing with that person that he was telling him that he was talking to. Like the
Right.
whole movie we watched, like that it was all a lie.
Right.
That never happened. She's just messing with her, and like telling her a story of one of his possible origins. And maybe in this second movie, he just does the same thing where he talks
Mhm.
about like so we'll see. But yeah, I like not knowing.
Hold on one second, Leonard. We'll get there in 2 seconds. So, like we talked about with Batman and saving Joe Chill. So this is what the Joker says to him. He says the Joker isn't broken. Batman is broken, and that he helped put Batman back together by letting him forgive
Hmm. Hmm.
Joe Chill. So then his mission then became, no, I can keep trying to break you. Um, and that the Killing Joke Joker is the real Joker, and that's what they said.
Yeah,
But I almost feel like all of the Jokers are the real Jokers.
yeah. I mean, like I think they mentioned in the book that the Joker is just the idea of chaos. So whoever's bringing that, right? That's what it is. So
Mm. All right. You can make Umbrella Academy of the Boys. So
so I'm behind on Umbrella Academy. I haven't started watching this, but I did read the comics and I love the comics.
oh.
If you know, Umbrella Academy created by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance fame, and oh, what's the name of the artist? Gabriel Ba, I think Gabriel Ba.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I love that series. I think it's great. I think it's a different version of a Doom Patrol, or at least that's the way it started. But they went in a very different directions, and I think the show has been doing some really fun stuff with the adaptation.
Right.
Um, which I'm surprised they do such weird stuff in the show, but I'm glad they're doing it because that really carries the spirit of the comic, even if they've changed some things in the stories. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this season, the new season that just dropped. I think I didn't finish season two, which is why I haven't started this one. But there's just so much content.
There's a lot. How do
Uh,
you pick and choose what you read and watch? Not what I know you read most stuff, but how do you pick what you
uh, Man, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it has to do now with what I'm covering on the channel, but even then, like I try to watch as much. So I do like. I'll tell you why I'm behind on. I'll tell you why I'm behind on the Umbrella Academy. If it was a weekly show,
Mm.
I would just be watching it every week. I don't have the discipline to just watch it like if it's on Netflix. Like I don't really binge anymore. So I love that they're doing. I know some people don't. I know some people love to binge these shows, and I get that. But I was I was born and raised with a weekly schedule of shows, and I need that discipline in my life
Mm.
because it helps me, right? I can organize things like that's why I'm watching. I can watch Kenobi and Marvel and schedule that stuff, and then The Boys, like because they all come out at different times, different days. So if like let's say Umbrella Academy was my Friday show, then I would just watch that weekly and then enjoy the show.
Mm.
Um, Now, as far as The Boys, I love The Boys. I think it's a great. I've never read the comics. I've heard about the comics and I've read other works by Garth Ennis, so I kind of know like his kind of like edge lord storytelling of like, oh yeah, let's make things extreme and violent and sexual. But I think the show adapts that really well. Um, so really good. I love Jensen Ackles because I'm a supernatural boy.
Oh, okay. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Um, what Marvel series are you looking forward to next?
I mean, She-Hulk looks so much fun. I love her in the comics, and I like procedural shows about lawyers too. Like I watch all that, like all the Law and Order stuff, and like any procedurals, any Franklin and Bash fans in the chat. I love me some lawyer shenanigans, so I hope they lean into that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What else is coming out? I think the Andor series. That's Star Wars, but Andor, one of my favorite characters. But I'll watch all this stuff. But yeah, give it to me weekly and a little bit so I can consume it.
Mr. Miller wants you to discuss the return of Daredevil.
Oh,
Uh,
I mean, I'm excited. Daredevil was one of the best series that Netflix had. So I actually recently rewatched season one
mm-hmm,
when they brought it when they put it on Disney Plus.
mm-hmm.
Just and I forgot how good it was.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so here's a question: the Daredevil hallway fight scene,
mhm.
or Vader and Obi-Wan their lightsaber fight at the end?
Man, um, I think I gotta go with Daredevil.
Oh yeah,
It's just such a well-made scene, and I mean, they
the fight scene was dope.
even the show couldn't replicate or top their own scene, right? Because they tried to do it in the next season when he was in prison and trying to escape,
Yeah,
like that big long scene where there's no cuts.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think that's one of the best just scenes in any fight. It reminds me. I don't know if you've seen the raid, not the raid. Well, I mean, the raids are good
The
movies,
raid.
but no, Old Boy. It's a Korean film. All right, well, I recommend it even if you would just want to watch the action. It's a very similar scene where it's kind of like this hallway, but you're seeing it from a side, kind of like a video game side scroller.
Right.
So you're and you kind of just see this dude walk and just kick ass all throughout the hallway, and then go down a different level, and then go the other way.
That's
Spike Lee directed the American remake with Josh Brolin and Elizabeth Olsen. I watched that. It's definitely not as good as the original. Uh, but and that movie and the ending of the movie is pretty fucked too. So um,
mm, what are we saying in the chat? What are
yeah,
both
talking about
Raid?
the
Yeah,
review.
both Raid movies are great.
I I also I'm curious, Jimmy, if you wouldn't mind sharing why you're boycotting She-Hulk. But if you don't want to share, I completely understand.
Of course, he's going to share, and he's going to be annoying about it and be wrong. I guarantee whatever he says is going to be preposterous.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, I know there's people. I don't know. People have very strong feelings towards a lot of the stuff we watch.
Uh
So whenever somebody doesn't want to watch something, I get that. I don't. I'm trying to think of the last thing I was like, no, I'm not watching that.
huh.
Uh,
Looking forward to Thor.
oh yeah. Oh dude, I'm excited.
Thor
I'm
looks really
so
good.
excited.
What?
I read the comics that this whole story is basically like the butcher, the God Butcher.
Oh yeah, I heard Chris. Well, I saw Harloff out of.
Christian Bale. Yeah, I've been staying away from all that stuff too because I hate seeing. Well, first of all, I'm jealous, right, that all those people get to watch the movies early. Um it's so early. Like it's 2 weeks from now. Like we still have 2 more weeks to watch before. So
What I've heard is that Christian Bale was amazing, which doesn't surprise me.
yeah, I mean, come on, if you've seen him in anything.
Yeah,
Uh,
he always dedicates himself.
but when he was announced as a villain, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kill it.
That that that's well, that's interesting because I think his eccentricity helps for villains. Like I think that's
Yeah.
what's makes villains really good.
If once again to bring in if you watch the Prestige, I guess you kind of have to pick your own magician to figure out who the villain of that movie is, or maybe
Yeah,
there is no villain. But yeah, he's great in that.
maybe they're both the villain. We're being misled.
Yeah,
What's is Black Panther this year or 2023?
I think it's supposed to be in November, and we haven't seen anything about it, which is
Okay.
interesting.
Because I couldn't remember. Well, they haven't said anything for show anything for Thor for a while either.
No, I mean, we didn't get anything from Thor till like what, like a month ago, maybe.
I, and I
That like
think
the first trailer came out maybe like 6 weeks ago, and then we got another trailer like very soon after that.
I think what's your take on this? I think what's hurting a lot of this this phase is with the pandemic, obviously, and stuff getting jumbled around. But I think the Disney shows, and I'm not I like most of them. I didn't like Moon Knight. I can't do it, but
Oh, I love Moon Knight.
most of them. But I think when you just had to look forward to the next movie,
Yeah,
it was easier to build up and all that stuff. And I think because there's so much stuff, I think that's hurting them. And I think that's
yeah,
what's hurting this phase.
yeah. And then once again, I'll kind of go back to what we talked about earlier. Like Marvel's making they're creating their own problems.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
promise all these things, and then you can never foresee things like what, like with COVID, and then what happened with James Gunn, like where they had to, well, they didn't have to fire him. They fired him, unfortunately for them. But then we got a Suicide Squad movie out of it, so I'm not gonna complain.
Hot take. I like the OG Suicide Squad better.
I like them. I mean, they're different movies. I like them both.
I like the squad. I like the actual squad.
Yeah, I like the characters better in the first one overall.
Yeah.
Like pound for pound, I think Harley is a better character in the newer one.
Yeah. Well, obviously, they made her just like unfortunately, they objectified her most of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think I like that she's actually
But
yeah, she was a little badassery, but now she's actually
right,
contributing more. There's more equity to her
yeah,
character.
exactly. Which is why I like the Birds of Prey movie too, because like that movie is just all about Harley and like her trying to move on with her life, and then you have Ewan McGregor not letting her do so. but I love Deadshot. I love Will Smith as Deadshot
Yeah,
in that first movie.
yeah,
Like the scene where he's in prison and they're trying to test him with the guns.
yeah. He goes,
Oh
"This
man,
isn't loaded, right?"
I love.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. You
I'm losing.
jokers are crazy, and then he just does a thing, and then the song. I think it's a Kanye song that they play in the background. Yeah, I love that the sequence, or when he's on top of the police car just shooting everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good stuff.
when they were
I love.
testing him.
I mean, it's Will Smith. You know, like regardless of what's happened recently, I like that stuff a lot. So
Well, yeah, he's somebody you can count on, and him
yeah,
and Margot have good chemistry, obviously.
yeah. And I really like too. Like Idris was a really good choice because you can tell that's the character Will Smith would have played, right? I think,
Because
which
he was supposed to be Deadshot.
yeah,
He was originally casting for that, and they were like, "Well, maybe we shouldn't," because I think they want to either do a movie with them together.
right. Well, that's the thing. That's what I would love to see, like a Bloodsport Deadshot movie.
I think
I
that would
think
be
that'd
cool.
be really cool. Whether it's something where they're like they are at odds with each other at first, but then they have to work together, like something like that. I think would be really fun.
I think that'd be super fun.
Uh,
Yeah, can you bring up what Jerry wrote, Mr. Munoz? Yeah, they have more news coming about the next phase. I think
yeah, it's interesting because we had heard that Marvel wasn't going to be at Comic Con, which I mean they have their own convention, so why even like why would they? But yeah, we'll see. I think they're gonna announce like what's coming up. I think their big announcement is gonna be Fantastic Four. I think they're finally gonna announce that of like maybe because they lost the director, so they need a new director, and maybe they'll announce some casting.
yeah. Do you think what's the name's gonna play Reed again, or you think that's
Um,
a one and done?
no, I hope it's a one. I like Krasinski, but I hope it's a one and done. Because selfishly I want him to keep making that Jack Ryan show on Amazon.
I thought he was done with it.
No, I think they have one more season. That I don't know. I'm not so much into that genre, but I really like Jack Ryan. All the Jack Ryan stuff is really fun.
He's actually a really good actor,
Yeah.
which you didn't really get to see. Um,
But I think they're holding out on announcing what they're going to talk about at Comic Con because it's probably going to be at the end of Thor. They're going to give you like a little tease so they don't want to spoil anything.
they, I think because of how the phase is going, to say it's going bad, it's not really going bad because Spider-Man made a
Mm-hmm.
billion.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, did it make a billion yet?
I don't know about a billion, but it made a lot of money.
It's close. What's it? I think it's a 900 million.
A lot of money. And now
Yeah.
that it's on, I mean, and
And now it's on Disney Plus, so
yeah, not something. I need to rewatch that this weekend.
yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
It's if you like horror movies, right?
Yes. Did you see the trailer for Smile? Lego. Did you
Dude,
see the trailer for Smile Lego?
Joker, that last frame of her in the car, and then like the
The
whatever
head.
person in the head just fucked me up, dude.
I love it. And somebody was like, "Oh no, it's not a Joker movie," but yo, when I tell you, I like it. I can't wait.
Yeah, that Smile trailer looks fucking. I don't know what that whole movie's gonna be about, but it's gonna be insane. Yeah, the box office is at 945 million, so for Doctor Strange, very close to the billion.
Lego, watch the trailer. Yeah, it's gonna cross a billion. It's easily gonna cross a billion. I mean,
I almost thought. Did you watch that movie Truth or Dare?
yes.
I almost thought it
Similar.
was related to that
Similar.
because the smile, like they look
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah, it's very
Uh,
similar.
but yeah, I think if you like horror and especially Sam Raimi, like Doctor Strange is gonna be right up your alley. There's some really fun stuff
Oh
with
yeah,
horror.
the whole scene when they were in the, I'm gonna say it wrong, Carmage,
Yeah, Comertage. Yeah.
yeah, the Carmitage, like that was all like the ring and
You know what my favorite part of that sequence, which I do love the ring, like the when she gets out of the mirror, but when she's looking through their minds, and then you just zoom into this dude, and then she's right behind him, and she just says, "Run."
yeah,
Oh, Sam Raimi's a fucking genius.
the stuff with the eyeballs, like that whole
Yeah.
That was him just, all right, let me just rub it in.
Yeah, let me tell you, like, you want a Sam Raimi movie? Let me show you a Sam Raimi movie.
Let me just rub it in.
That's
So
right. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Black Phone looks good too. Ethan Hawke's
I
movie.
hopefully I can watch that this weekend as well. I love Scott Derrickson. I recently, one of the reasons I wanted to meet Jennifer Carpenter and that I did at Fan Expo
Mm-hmm.
was because I am a big fan of The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That's one of my favorite horror movies, and she was the main character in that. So as much as I love Dexter, like I went to see her because of that. So
So I was watching. You know, Rob Zombie did an Addams Family remake, right? Or is doing one or something like that.
oh, okay.
And his wife's in it, I believe. And it's just funny because somebody was like, "Your wife is ugly. It's over with." I haven't seen it yet, but I just thought it was funny. That's it. I was like, "That's messed up."
That
Uh,
is messed up.
but I saw. I don't know if I saw a picture of it, but it looked pretty interesting. Like it looked really close to what the TV show used to look like. Not,
Okay, I'll have to look into that. I mean, I grew up watching reruns of that stuff, and that and the Munsters, or Magician.
Jimmy, shut up. All right, that's what I meant. The Munsters. It's the Munsters. I meant the Munsters.
Oh,
Just
okay,
like
okay.
I meant
I
the.
mean, I know they're not the same, but they have a similar vibe.
Of course.
Especially
They're
because they're word. Especially if you watch the like they're both black and white shows about these characters, and so one's a vampire, one's a Frankenstein, but
it's the same.
very very similar. But
Well, sir. I don't know. Anything else we want to chat about?
I mean, I think we definitely covered a lot, but
Yeah,
no,
I
this
think
was.
I think everybody's like, no more joke.
Oh, hold on. Let me do it. Let me address Jimmy's latest comment. Because, and this might be a hot take, and Lego may hate me for this, but I like Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I love it.
The first one. The
I
second one
love
gets
it.
real wild.
Yeah,
The second one was not a Halloween movie, but the
yeah.
first one, I really like that.
I like, I like that he gave Michael a backstory a little
Yeah,
bit. I like because I like the psychological component.
yeah.
Um, bring up Jimmy's nonsense. Can you bring up Jimmy? His pours on other people's properties. I don't think he ruined Halloween. Um,
I don't think so either.
because I don't think he ruined it any more than anybody else did.
Well, and okay, now I know Jimmy just put another comment. What I meant to say when they were the same is that me as a youngling, like those both of those shows, they came on, they played the reruns at the same time, like back to back.
Yeah.
So to me, before I knew they were separate things, like I just felt like I just thought it was like a whole thing, like they were like, I don't know, not neighbors, but like that they kind of like that they were kind of the same show. I just didn't know like there was about two different families. That's what I mean when I'm saying that they're the same.
Listen,
No, I
listen.
like to
No, I know. No, I was gonna say, Matt. Can you bring up the last comment? No, not that one. I don't care about that one. He was wrong.
uh-huh.
So what made the shit great is because he had no reason why. Okay, but I'm going to explain this to you again, Jimmy. I like the psychology behind people. That's why I like Heath Ledger's Joker. I like psychology. I like the crazy. I think it's interesting. I think it's intriguing. So the reason why I like Halloween, you can be in love with the shape and all that stuff all you would like, sir. The reason why I like Halloween is because when you're that young, there's usually something, and in at home and all that stuff, there's a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I like both takes. Also, I watched that Halloween when I was like a teenager, or like, yeah, I think I was a teenager. So like I like that whole like edgy Rob Zombie take, and with the violence kind of cranked up, and which I love the original Halloween too. Like I think it's a fantastic movie. So um
I loathe screaming, putting more truth.
Oh,
Blank
what
slate.
about Scream? They scream a lot in that movie.
Mm. Is he supposed to be a blank slate? I guess.
He's supposed to be William Shatner.
Yeah, all of the, but anybody's a blank slate. But you have to get to the blank slate.
Boom.
And what led you to the blank slate, sir? So I understand your premise, but
Yeah,
your fallacy is illogical because yes,
I
most
think
people aren't just a blank slate. Good, sir.
I think as long as we all agree that Halloween Kills is a mess, uh,
I like Halloween Kills.
but it's still a mess.
Oh, well. This is my thing. I think they took Halloween, the new Halloween, the newest Halloween.
Yeah, yeah,
They say they filmed 2 hours. They made it an hour and a half. Took that last 30 minutes, did the bootleg hospital scene, put it together with crazy glue and duct tape.
yeah, 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 yeah.
The second
Yeah,
one.
I remember reading that it was supposed to be two movies, and then they're like, "Oh, we shot too much." Um, so yeah, that whole subplot of like the town and like that it ends up meaning nothing, and the whole evil dies tonight thing. So I think we found our compromise where Halloween Kills
Yeah,
is.
that was to make money.
Oh yeah,
Jason Jason Blum said, "I need some money. I want to make money."
which is weird because the movie came out on Peacock, so I
He's
don't know how
trying
much
to
money they made.
he's trying to take what's the name? He's trying to get Nightmare on Elm Street now.
I I hope this year with movies like Nope, the Jordan Peele movie Nope, and some of the other horror stuff that we've seen, like
Nope looks dope.
maybe we need to focus on original horror stories as opposed to just remaking all the stuff from the 80s, which was already good. I think remakes were popular in the early 2000s because we didn't have as much accessibility to like streaming and watching all the old content. Like you had to go to the store and rent out the DVD or whatever, or go to the store and buy a DVD and stuff like that. But now everything's so accessible. Like if I want to watch Halloween, like I'm just gonna watch the original Halloween. I don't, um, you know. So like, there's no point in remaking it. I don't need you to remake Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or House of Wax. Uh,
I tend to. I think people are scared to be creative. I think Lego had mentioned something about Apollo and the other
yeah.
person. I think with DC, they're scared to make new properties, and they're scared to be creative, and that's where like the disconnect is.
Hmm.
Uh, like the new Hellraiser, I'm not sure when it's supposed to come out, but they did a new Hellraiser,
I've
and
I've never seen any of those movies, the Hellraiser ones.
Hellraiser was a lot. Hellraiser was deep.
It's a blind spot, but I mean the dude terrifies me just from looking at the Pinhead or whatever his name is. Uh,
Yeah, that's what Pinhead's
and
over.
I had never seen Candyman up until the new movie came out, and then I watched them both.
I saw the new one.
It's
It doesn't make sense.
the ending falls apart for me a little bit. I like the movie overall, but the ending falls apart a little bit. Um, but I like the ideas that it's presenting. Uh,
I think
well,
the beginning had promise, and then I think they just.
yeah, it does try to follow a lot of the themes from the first one, but like this feels a little more authentic. But overall, I mean, and I'll watch. Yeah, you have Duel. He's a really good actor too, so
Yeah,
I'll watch him do anything.
yeah. I don't. I don't think the script was strong. That's what
Yeah,
it seemed
yeah.
like.
Something happened at the end where it was a little bit of a disconnect. So
Right. So yes, we agree that. Hold on a second.
I think
What
I
the
think I
original?
think I think the next limited edition needs to be more horror related, and we need to bring in some of these people yelling in the chat.
I'm not bringing in Jimmy because he's wrong. But what I was going to say is that I do.
I have
The
watched the
OG
original. I
Halloween.
think.
That's what I was
Yeah.
definitely saying. The OG Halloween. The OG Halloween. I like it a lot. It was never one that I thought was super scary, but it was a great movie.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. I don't think any of these horror movies really are scaring anymore.
Yeah, I think the genius of the first Halloween is how simple the movie is.
Yeah.
And then also that score.
Yeah.
The score. But no, I think what Jimmy was talking about the original. What's the original Candyman? I did watch. So I watched the original Candyman before watching the new one.
Yeah.
So what's his name? The original Candyman, the guy that plays Candyman, he's great.
Oh yeah.
Tony.
He looks creepy.
Yeah.
He just looks creepy.
They managed to, and there was like no big effects or anything like that. That was just kind of him doing stuff. So
I mean, that's what happens. Sometimes you get these roles where you just get like think about Freddy. Like,
yeah,
Robert Englund was like, I feel like that's just how he is. Like he's just. They said that.
Thank you, everyone.
Jason Blum said that if he could get Nightmare on Elm Street, that he would talk Robert Englund into coming back and playing Freddy again.
I haven't seen Stranger Things, but I heard he's in it. Like the latest, Robert Englund's in the latest Stranger Things. So
yes, I don't watch Stranger Things.
I will eventually. It's just it feels like a big commitment. Every episode's like an hour and a half or something. And I go, please don't yell at me. I'll watch it eventually. I know you've already seen it multiple times.
112 times. Has books
like
on it. Has a pie graph on why it's an amazing movie. We know how to captain roles.
The bees were real.
Oh, that was 2 hours. All right, Mr. Next issue, plug your shit.
I mean, just go here. Matt dropped a link for me earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, just if you're not subscribed, if you're one of the people watching and you're not subscribed, how dare you? Like I said, I don't think every video is for you, so I don't expect you to watch every video, but I think that you'll find something on the channel that you'll like. And then also come hang out when we do our live stuff. I think we have so much more fun when we have people in the chat yelling at us like right now. We say a lot of dumb things on Sunday morning. I know Sunday mornings are a tough ask, but
it's not that early. I just have a discussion at that time, but I don't think it's
no. It's fine. It's fine. I know people go to they do stuff with family and church, but we're heathens. So
so me and Daniel cook up another limited edition where we talk about maybe some other stuff. Maybe we can do some horror. I know you're not a huge horror.
Oh, dude, I love horror. What are you talking about? But I'm more of a new wave horror person as opposed to the older stuff. I hadn't gone back to watch older stuff, and I am loving it. But I'm a new horror type of person. So
okay, we'll figure out. Me and Daniel cook up some stuff for you guys. We'll bring you this again.
We'll see if the Raw Fishback Network can afford my next fee.
Listen, I did all of this work. Rob just tried to take the credit by having his name.
He really does, right? Like, let me just get some real talented people to do stuff on my channel.
That's what you do. It's like Ted Turner and ESPN and all of them. They're like, oh,
yeah.
You're the talent, and I'll just take credit for it.
I guess if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do it.
Like, subscribe. Mr. Munoz, can you pull up the slate for July, please?
Oh, sorry. Well, I guess we'll sign up in a minute.
July 9th. I told you Monique's going to be here. And Asia Part 2, July 23rd. Go ahead, sir. Thank you. What were you going to say, Mr. Munoz?
Oh, no. The last thing I was going to say, I know it's been a rough day. So anybody that kind of hung out with us, thank you. Take care of yourselves. We love you guys.
Yep. What Danny said. Joker out.